Hello everybody, it's me Steven and thank you for watching my videos. Now today I'm going to be talking to you about something a little bit different. It's because I've been doing more research and readings of this particular topic. And this topic is going to be about the history of classical music, and I'm also going to be covering up a couple of other things too, like the composers and the eras. And I'm also going to explain what classical music actually is, because for many people, classical music would be defined as a sound of instrumental music that you would hear in the concert halls. But classical music is more than just the sound you hear in concert halls. Classical music actually has different eras. The era, of course, would be in the medieval time period, like the Middle Ages. The other would be in the Baroque period, Classical period, Romantic period, and of course the 20th century. Now, how do we get all of this music into scores, and all this music notation, and all these instruments? Well, I'm going to also talk about what was it like in the Middle Ages, before we had all this modern technology that we see nowadays. And even before we had music notation. So, anyway, let's get started. Now, I've been doing research on the Middle Ages. And the Middle Ages happens to be a time that started with the fall of the Roman Empire. And it ended in the middle of the 15th century. Around 1400, that is. It spanned nearly 1,000 years. And when the power of the Roman Empire was diminishing, then the church would become increasingly dominant in medieval society. Now, composers during this time, they were usually employed to do something else. For instance, work as a priest. And people who received education in a musical field, they were either accepted as part of nobility, or they would also be employed by the Catholic Church and living in religious institutions like nunneries or monasteries. Now, for those people who wanted to compose and write music, they would have to be musically literate to some degree, like the creation of a polyphony. Now, in studying the scores, I'm going to also tell you that there are two types of music in the medieval time period. It would be the secular and the sacred. But the majority of studied scores are of the sacred variety. So there isn't much solid or accurate information about the secular music. And it was because the secular monophonic music at that time, they was only counted worthy for preservations in written collections in the 12th century and onward. And music, much of it was done through oral tradition. Now, what does that mean? Well, it meant that, for one, it was unaccompanied. There were no instruments playing in the background. Number two, it was in Latin. And number three, it was all sung by heart. In other words, they did it in memory rather than written down. So all of the music was done through oral tradition. Now, when music was written, it wasn't like the modern musical notation that we see nowadays. Now, what happened was, instead, they would outline vague approximations of rhythmic lines. Rhythms were merely suggested also. So that tells you. And this is exactly what happened even until the time when Guido d'Arezzo, he was the person that developed this type of music staff in the time of the Middle Ages. So, and it was all because it was a way of trying to solve the problem of memorizing such a vast repertory of chant. So that's pretty much all I wanted to say about this. Now, if you like this video, you can leave a comment, you can give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and also hit the notification bell for more. And I want to thank you all for watching. I'm Stephen Cobb, and I'll see you on my next video. Peace out.